Baba had given certain points, certain indicators to Dr. Ghani to write out a sort of a prayer song or a poem which will incorporate all the important aspects of the new life. And this, what Soumya is going to sing, is the what is known as Nai Zindagi Ka Tarana, or the song of the new life. Baba had taken very keen interest in framing this song and also warning Adi Keirani not to change a single word. That was the importance given to this song. And this song was being prayed as a prayer song, set out as a prayer song every day in the morning. What I'm trying to convey is the importance that Baba gave to this song. And the other importance is that Baba set it to tune. Adi would play the harmonium and Baba would be on the dholak, and then they would be setting the tune. So the importance is to maintain the sanctity of this tune forever. That's why I was eager that this should go on the Facebook so that people know that this is the original tune. And I don't think anybody should try to remix it into anything, because this is a tune set by Baba. Over to you, Swami.
There is a little prelude to this song which
Like loud.
I would like to share. Baba stepped into the face of the new life on 16th October 1949 from Merazad and formally ended it on 12th February 1952 in Merazad. During this phase, Baba seemingly set aside his divinity to play the role of a seeker or lover of God to perfection. Baba has disclosed that the new life is an excellent means of attaining life eternal to the aspirants of this age. Detachment and inner renunciation embody the essence of the new life. While in Belgaum on 24th October 1949, Baba asked Ghani to write a poem about the new life. Baba dictated the chorus and indicated to him to incorporate into the poem the chief principles of the new life, such as obedience, suppression of anger, greed and lust, truthfulness, cheerfulness under all circumstances, etc. Ghani composed the New Life song in Hindi, and after some corrections by Baba, Baba asked him to translate it into English. In fact, Ghani had gotten the inspiration to write the song on the New Life from listening to Baba play the dholak. Baba explained the poem will be sung as a prayer each morning before starting the day's activities. Baba would play the drum and with Adi's help teach the companions to sing the New Life chorus. By always joining in such activities from the beginning, it was never felt that Baba was silent. Later, Baba had the following letter written to the five arrangement walas in Ahmednagar for printing. The five arrangement walas were Jal Kerawala, Meherji Karkaria, Nariman Dadachandji, Ramju Abdullah, and Sarosh Irani. The letter is dated October 31st, 1949, Belgaum. Subject: Song of the New Life of Meher Baba and his companions. Print 1000 copies of leaflets on a full-scale sheet. Print Hindi on one side and the English translation on the other. The Hindi should be reproduced word for word from the attached Urdu manuscript. The English translation is also attached herewith. Distribute 800 copies to the interested ones everywhere in India, Ceylon, and Pakistan, but not in the West, and send 200 copies to William Donkin, care of Postmaster, Banaras Cantonment, to reach there after November 14th and before December 10th, 1949. Dictated by Baba, and witnesses to the letter were Adi K. Irani and William Donkin.
See, Baba made it so official and so specific as to the number of copies, when it is to be dispatched, when it should be received, and it was also witnessed. The letter was witnessed by Adi K. Irani, Adi Senior, and Dr. Don. All right.
Now I'll just go through the text because Sylvia wanted to.
It will be too long. You just sing the song. We'll give the India, or we can put it on the
Sylvie
group.
will putting
We'll
the
put it on the group, the English translation.
सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। है जीना तुम्हें गर नई जिंदगानी, करो तर्क दिल से ये दुनिया ये फानी। खुदा के भरोसे पे हम जा रहे हैं, कसम से इरादों को गरमा रहे हैं। गजल ना मुरादी की हम गा रहे हैं, बला और मुसीबत को बुलवा रहे हैं। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश वाणी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। उम्मीदों का रोना, न वादों का शिकवा, न इज्जत से मतलब, न जिल्लत की परवाह, न गीबत किसी की, ना खतरा किसी का। यही रंग है अपनी अब जिंदगी। इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। ख्यालों में उलझन है बाकी न बंधन, है न क़्वत न गुस्सा न कुछ काम कंचन। है मजहब से रिश्ता ना कुछ फिक्र तन मन, सवार एक किश्ती में छे को भी रहे मन। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। न अपने लिए कोई छोटा बड़ा है, मुरीद और मुर्शद न मौला रहा है। उखुवत का बाहम जो रिश्ता जुड़ा है, हमें दर्द गम में मजा आ रहा है। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश वाणी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। न दुनिया न उखवा, न दोजख न जन्नत, न सिद्धि न शक्ति, न कश्फो करामत। ये सब नक्शे बातिल हुए दिल से रुखसत। जो कुछ है वो है हाल की कदरों की मत। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश वाणी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। ये अल्फाज बाबा के सुन दिल से प्यारे, शुमार अब मेरा है बराबर तुम्हारे, मगर तुम अच्छे बुरे दुख न्यारे, बचा लाओ फौरन खुदा के सहारे। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में सब आशिकों की कहानी। अगर आसमाने मुसीबत भी टूटे, सदाकत का हाथों से दामन न छूटे। चमन या सोहीरा मने हर चंद लूटे, तवक्कल से इनमें लगा बेल बूटे। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। चले दिल पे छुरिया मगर लबों खंदा, ये एक रमज है जिसको करता हूँ उरिया। तेरी तंग दस्ती में दौलत है पिन्हा, गदाई पे तेरे करे रश्क शाह। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। है बेशक खुदा और बरहक नबी है, वो हर दौर अवतार हर दम वली है। हमें तो फकत बसी बेकसी है, कहूँ क्या तुम्हें क्या नई जिंदगी है। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी। है जीना तुम्हें गर नई जिंदगानी, करो तर्क दिल से ये दुनिया ये फानी। सुनो मेरे बाबा की खामोश बानी, इसी में है सब आशिकों की कहानी।
Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. So this is the song and this is the tune which we got to know from the Manli's singing. Rhoda Mystery used to sing that, and there's a record for that. If someone were to ask me, what is the nature, what is the crux of the new life and the message, I would say there are two important things. One is the song here, the new life song, and the other is the message of the new life, which I would like to read out, which is also a very potent message. And if we have the courage and the wisdom to live by it, then obviously we would be also living the new life. The message goes like this. This new life,
Cyrus, is there some mic or something? I think your voice is, cracking in the middle. Did something
oh,
shake over there? We can hear, but if it is clearer, it is better.
I really don't know because I
Yes,
also,
perfect now. Now it's perfect.
yeah,
Now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Okay, continue. We'll see it. We'll see.
So I'll just read out the message. It says, this new life is endless. And even after my physical death, it will be kept alive by those who live the life of complete renunciation of falsehood, lies, hatred, anger, greed, and lust. And who to accomplish all this do no lustful action, do no harm to anyone, do no backbiting, do not seek material possessions or power, who accept no homage, neither covet honor nor shun disgrace, and fear no one and nothing. By those who rely wholly and solely on God, and who love God purely for the sake of loving, who believe in the lovers of God and in the reality of manifestation, and yet do not expect any spiritual or material reward, who do not let go the hand of truth, and who, without being upset by calamities, bravely and wholeheartedly face all hardships with 100% cheerfulness and give no importance to caste, creed, or religious ceremonies. This new life will live by itself eternally, even if there is no one to live it. Meher Baba. So this is a very powerful, very beautiful new life message. And now, having done that, over to you, Rakesh, to show the clips.
Thank you, Cyrus. That was
Thank you.
beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
It will take me 2 minutes, huh?
Take your time. I can sing those 2 minutes. All right. Take your time, Rakesh. Originally, there was a cassette of Huma, and this song was sung by Rhoda Mistry. Rhoda is, how do I say, Falu's mother, if you know Falu, who stays now in Mehraza, and so Falu Sarosh and Merwan. And so beautifully she sings, and this is the tune, very soothing and very, all right. For those who want to have the complete song along with the meaning in English, we would be sending it to our divine postmaster, the entire song, English as well as, so that, yes, this is for you, Sylvia, Sylvia, because she requested. If Soumya had read out the whole thing, it would have been a long, drawn out stuff. That's why. All right, go ahead, Rakesh.
Of the whole, to fight it and come out of it and be victorious and be Vijeta. Means if that was not there, then there would have been no Maja in life.
There's some noise coming in now.
Confirm that it must be some. So many questions. Is life a battle? Baba says yes, it is a battle. Battle of what? Battle between the ignorance and knowledge, between light and darkness, isn't it? Between duality and unity, between dream and the awake state, in a sense. So, and what the battle is for? The battle is to come to that knowledge. Yes, it is a battle, and if rightly fought, would bring infinite anand, that is bliss. That means, in other words, if one is able to overcome ignorance, and once we are in the knowledge with capital K, then you will be getting anand, which is bliss. Why should it be a battle? Why should life be a battle? Necessarily, when Baba says yes, otherwise existence would be a drag. If there is no battle, in other words, if there is no darkness, one would be, or we have done it over and over again, there would be no appreciation for light. So in other words, necessarily, otherwise existence would be a drag. If there is no darkness, one cannot appreciate light. If there is no ignorance, one cannot appreciate knowledge. They can't exist without the other. Both are essential on the opposite poles. In other words, I would interpret it, in other words, this so-called apparent negativity that is going on in life today everywhere is a part and parcel of the whole divine plan to fight it and come out of it and be victorious. and be Vijeta. Means if that was not there, then there would have been no Maja in life. That is what Baba is saying. Maja in the sense, there would be no appreciation of the other side. The whole of this creation, in fact, is because of that. Because in the Parakpar Parbrahma state, as we call it, the beyond state of God, God is, but consciousness is not. Now, if there is no consciousness, what is the fun of God is? In other words, if you are in sound sleep state, you are, but what is the fun of you are if you are not conscious that you are? Simple as that. So then the creation started, and when the creation started, it was totally opposite of what the attributes of God is. In other words, God is infinite, so this became finite. If God is all knowledge, this became all ignorance. If that is consciousness, this became unconsciousness. And then, of course, the evolution process started till such time when you enter the same gate from which you exit. But when you exited, when you came out of that gate, whatever you call it, home point, creation point, there was absolutely rudimentary consciousness, as good as no consciousness. And when you are going back to the same gate, you are going with full consciousness. That means you are coming out as, in a sense, Baba talks about gaseous state, which is absolutely, you can't even imagine consciousness. And when you are going back with the state of I am God. Aham Brahmasmi, Anal Haq, Soham. So in other words, this whole journey is a journey from unconscious divinity to conscious divinity. Divinity is the given platform. You are going, but now you know consciously that you are divine. In other words, Baba talks about that God realization is consciousness of unconsciousness. In other words, in your unconscious state, you are conscious. And you never go back to the beyond state. Many people mistake that. It starts from the beyond state only, and then you go back in the beyond state with full consciousness of I am God state. So that is the whole journey. And the journey, who is doing it? It is God Himself who is doing it. As gases, as stone, metal, minerals, as whatever you call it, the vegetables and fish, worms and fish and whatever, birds and animals and human beings. And then on the spiritual plane, all the saints and the sadhus and the peers and the valis and all those, ultimately coming back to the seventh state, which is the seventh plane of consciousness of reality, I am God state. So Baba says, otherwise there would be no fun, if at all. So necessarily, they cannot exist without the other. Both are essential on the opposite poles. In other words, what I am emphasizing is that ignorance is essential. That the so-called negative aspect of life is essential. That is the way the blueprint of creation is made, and you cannot do anything about it. You mean there is no you, in fact it is all God playing the different role. What is love?
This is another clip now. You're on mute, Cyrus. You're on mute.
There's a lot of noise coming through, na, Rakesh?
No, we can hear. I don't know. Other people, I don't know.
Yeah, but everything is clear on your side.
Yeah, it's clear.
There's a lot of disturbance on our side, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is all one. So these are small clips with small heads,
You decide.
Yeah.
It's about 6:30, 40 maximum, not beyond.
Yes.
Thank you, dear. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Love, there are books written about love. I would interpret it this way. Love is that which gives and does not expect anything in return. Love is that which has an active concern for the good and well-being of the others, and not just a mental concern or an oral concern, but that you take action towards that concern. Now when we talk about universal love, then Baba talks about like universal spiritual push, that means love for everyone and everything. It is not limited or
A set of people.
circumscribed to one particular family or jat or part or whatever that may be. It is universal. And once people accept the very fact, which is a fact of reincarnation, people accept the fact that you are born once as a Hindu, then as a Muslim, maybe then again as a Christian, maybe then as a Tatar, maybe then as a Bawaji, maybe then as a whatever it is. If people accept that once you are rich, then you are poor, once you are healthy, then you are weak. But once people accept that in totality, which I hopefully, because Baba is very clear about that, one life and one birth and one death, one real life and one real death, one real birth and one real death, sorry, in God's speech. Once we accept that, then immediately if there is a, let us say, enmity between two mazhabs or dharam, immediately the thought should come to who knows, in my last one I must have been in that dharam, and today I am in this, or who knows, in my next I will go into that. So why get into all this javela? You see? So universal love would mean that love, I would say universal love would mean that love for everyone and everything in creation, because in fact, everyone and everything is in creation is nothing but the Creator Himself playing that role. Simple. The Creator has not only created the creation, but the Creator becomes the creation. So anything that is there in creation is nothing but the role play of the Creator. Just as the role play as you and I are role playing, the Creator is role playing. So if that knowledge actually percolates to each and every one, then where is the question of enmity? Where is the question of any kind of, all these so-called aspects which feed the individual egocentric mind, ego mind, these will all go away, because you know that the other person is just me. And the law of karma is such that what you have done to other, you have already done it to you. One of the most beautiful way of looking at it is that in fact there is no other. When there is no other, it is only my own different form. You see, one bubble here and one bubble somewhere else, not bubble, one drop here and the one drop somewhere else in the ocean of divinity doesn't make any difference. After all, the ocean is the ocean, and drop is just a brum or an illusion. So once we realize that howsoever the other person is, as we say, debased, is a rascal, is this, is that, ultimately he is in the same ocean as I am, and he is the same drop as I am. The only thing is his bubble is different and my bubble is different. If I talk it in a negative term, then his bubble has got so many other karmas which are apparently not positive, whereas my bubble is having that samskara. So that is the only difference. The difference is in the bubble. The difference is not in the drop. The difference is in the karma, and the difference is not in the spirit or the soul, because all in God speaks, all souls are one. It starts with that. It's all one and one and one. There is no other. So whatever I have done to anybody else, it is not to anybody else. I have done it to myself. The only thing is, it's only a passage of time through which I will get to know. And again, we know that time is a construct of the mind. So it may come at a later date when I will realize, oh, how come I am getting all these bombardings where I have not done anything wrong. But I may have done something wrong in the past. How do I know? And that is what I am getting, the same being treated in the same way. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
When Baba was asked why there is evil, and Baba had responded so beautifully, there is no evil. It is only a lower degree of goodness. So from the perspective or from the standpoint of truth or reality or the awakened state or Advaita, from that state there cannot be a dui or a duality, and therefore for those who are jnani, for those who are realized, there is no evil, it is only a lower degree of goodness. There is only love, there is only goodness, there is only oneness. So here Baba says, it is as one takes it. The question is, why is there so much evil in the world? In other words, indirectly Baba is saying that it is as one takes it. Now if you take this as an evil, then it's an evil. But from Baba's standpoint, there is no evil. In reality, there is nothing but God. In reality, there is nothing but God. Good and bliss. In reality, there is nothing but God, good and bliss. Just imagine. But because of ignorance, man doesn't see it and takes the different degrees of expression of good as evil. In other words, everything emanates from God. And because everything emanates from God, therefore everything is God, good and bliss. But because we are in the domain of duality and we take things, we are accustomed to seeing things as duality, as opposites, and therefore we see the lower degree of good as something evil, as something bad, as something ignorant. So Baba's superb words are, in reality there is nothing but God, good and bliss, but because of ignorance, everything is ignorance. Because of ignorance, man doesn't see it. Man doesn't see that everything is God, that everything is good, that everything is bliss, and takes the different degrees of expression of good. We are interpreting the different degrees of expressions of good as evil. We are interpreting it that, but actually in truth, in reality, there is no evil. Even so, it is essential for the eradication of duality. In other words, this so-called evil is essential for the eradication of duality. Because only when each and every soul goes to the experience of duality, which means of the so-called good and the so-called evil, you cannot rise above the good and the evil, and you cannot go into the domain of what is known as Advait or oneness or reality. In other words, the experience of duality is essential to experience the unity. If the experience of duality is not there, there would be no appreciation of the experience of unity. Am I making sense? So again, even so, it's even so evil for evil. Baba is saying it is essential for the eradication of duality. In order to eradicate duality, some other example Baba has given offhand, I am getting a thought, where in discourses I think Baba has said that if you have a utensil, a bartan, which is greasy, which is dirty, and you are using the dirty ash, that dirty ash. So this is apparently the ash is dirty, but that dirty ash removes the dirt of the grease and then brings it clean. In other words, the so-called apparent existence of the evil is necessary in order to experience duality and rise above duality. Again I am reading, even so, it is essential for the eradication of duality. That means evil is essential for the eradication, which means removal of duality. Passing through different phases and experiences of this duality, man evolves in consciousness and understanding of the one reality, which alone exists. Means in the process of passing through all these things, we realize and understand that one reality. Again, I would interpret it this way, that we all go through and even contribute. I am not saying we are only going through, somebody is doing evil We are ourselves contributing also to a very great extent. We all go through and experience so-called negativity or evil in our life. We all perhaps also contribute or act in an evil way with somebody or something. Now this is my interpretation. But whilst we are either going through or participating in it, if there is a consciousness that this is all an illusion, that it is necessary for eradication of duality, and most importantly, I would say that it is not I who is doing, it is Baba who is doing through me. That after the act is experienced, like you experience, or after you contribute to an act of supposed evil or whatever it is, you offer it to Baba honestly and sincerely. I personally feel that that will go a long way in awakening us to that reality and not getting attached to it. I don't know if I'm making sense. Means in other words, the focal point is constant, wholehearted consciousness of participation of Baba in our life. Whether we are experiencing somebody's evil or we are contributing to somebody's evil. That has to be his companionship and his participation in that with a conscious level that yes, this is not right, what I am going through is not right, or what I am doing to somebody is not right, but that consciousness is there. I personally feel that over a period of time we may be able to ride above that wave of duality and come to the point of reality or unity. Any questions? When Baba was asked why there is true that the biggest fear is the fear of death. And once we realize what is death after all, and fortunately for us who are, I suppose, in Baba's fold, we know what Baba has talked about with death. It's an incident in life. We also know that death is not the end of everything. And we also know that there is, Baba says, that nobody dies. Words to the effect, nobody dies. Nobody knows how to die. Only the real heroes who die are never born again. So we must die that death. The real death, the death of individuality, the death of limitation, the death of finiteness, the death of separativeness. Yeah, but then desires. Okay. So once that death comes, then you don't even have to, that's the final death. You are not born again. But apart from, yes, I do agree with Sam, but apart from that, I may not be afraid of death, but I may be, and most of us are afraid of sickness, isn't it? And most of us even pray, Baba, I don't want to linger, or be in the hospital for ages together and all that. So and that again we are afraid because it costs money, because there is no money, suppose, very little money, and because we know how the whole gang of the doctors function, we all know it, it's an open secret. So we get a little terrified that what if we get caught in that. So that also, so all these worries are there, all these fears are there. But Baba says if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, then the spiritual perspective could be that nothing can ever happen to me unless and until that happening is necessary for my spiritual growth. Nothing can ever happen to me unless it is okay and stamped, go ahead, by my master. Unless he says, okay, go ahead, nothing will ever happen to me. And nothing can ever happen to me, again, as I said, that unless and until I have sown the seeds of those happenings in the past. And the seeds have been sown and the fruits are coming, so I am supposed to accept the fruits. So that way, and ultimately what is happening to whom? It is happening to my body, it is happening to my mind, it is not happening to my soul. And so to that extent, if this happening, whatever that negative is propelling me to remember my Lord more sincerely, more dedicatedly, more often, more deeply, then that so-called tragedy is actually propelling me and helping me to reach my goal much quicker, much faster, much safer. If I'm in a jolly mood, drunk and enjoying in a disco, and at that time heart attack comes, I may not remember Baba. But if I am on the hospital bed with people around me saying, Fikar na kar, Baba no naam le, we say all these bhashan, I also say to others, then at least we feel that we are in safe hands, at least we are being reminded to remember Baba. Isn't it? So in that sense, this so-called negative aspect of sickness, accident, suffering, dengue, what is that? Chikungunya, all that stuff nowadays now is become a fashion. आपको chikungunya नहीं हुआ? कमाल हो गया. It's a fashion statement. So, what I'm trying to say is, in such apparent negative areas of our life, it is actually positive because it helps us to remember the Lord more deeply and more profoundly. Yes, you have something to say. Fool, I know, it's over. Gone in for this. That you would have never gone in for this next life or anybody unless and until they have given you some kind of a greedy proposition.
Of course, that was only there.
So the spiritual perspective is because I was about to get fuss out and Soumya saved me from that. Yeah.
But so then I was
But that was
also...
big amount. So in other words, I fell into, in a sense, greed.
Yeah, even same, no?
So no, if you
No,
buy from here, you will get this, you will
discount
get
of
this, you will get
3,000.
all that. Right?
Yeah.
So in other words, the spiritual lesson is that there is something called, this is it. If you are, there is no such thing as a free lunch, as we say. And if somebody is more than good to you in terms of, okay, if you do this, then we will do this, then for the first few installments we will pay, and then you get this kickback, but don't phone somebody, don't let them, all that. So the spiritual perspective is now we learn that not to be greedy.
Correct.
That is what I am trying to say. Yes, now that as we say the grapes are sour, there is no other way to look at it. So you are saying I have given a donation or something, or it is because of past karma, you must have cheated somebody or something. That is beside the point. But the spiritual perspective would be that there is an honest line, and anybody who is trying to give you a more than what is normally available in the market, you be better be a little wary about it. You see, you do, and it is good that we are talking. There are lots of phone calls coming. You see, fortunately for me, what I got my money back. Why? Apart from Soumya, that was that. Fortunately for me, they would always call on the landline. Now you have a call recorder in your mobile. So once I knew this, I made a call transfer into mine, and the person doesn't know that she is being recorded. And very sweet sounding girl. That's what I felt trapped in.
I had somebody, a man who was very sweet.
Always. So I called the Reliance Insurance people, and I said, this is all that I have. All my I showed them. All these recordings are there. If you don't want me to take action, pay back my money, forget the whole damn thing. I was fooled, I know. It's over with. If not, I will have to proceed with whatever the thing. They just paid back the money without any question, and that was over. I had parted with 1 lakh rupees. So I got it. So thanks to Soumya and thanks to...
Cyrus, you were very lucky. I did all this, but she did not get the money.
No, but the whole thing is you have to pressurize them.
Okay, no.
And I did the person was sent home, and I had my laptop, and I said, you see all this? I said, all these are recordings. And I'll proceed if you don't pay me back. I'm not bothered with your concern, somebody else, some agent, but anyway. So coming back to what we are saying is that whenever there is a greed, or there is some hatred, or there is jealousy, or whatever all these so-called aspects, then that is where we get fuss out. And the law is such that it will bring us to balance. Now we have learned something like that. So here Baba said the only possible means is the spiritual change of heart. Means if we have if we see everything from a spiritual perspective, then this fearlessness will come in. That only will make people satisfied. So once you have a spiritual perspective, there is no such thing as free lunch, as I said. Initially I'm talking about when we just were together. Somehow or the other, we were being frequented by private detectives. Yeah, and they wanted to have access in the house, and we have got a gift for you and stuff like that. I said, from where and for what? We are not interested in gift. We are the people who give gifts to people. If you want, please tell me, I'll give you a gift. And we never gave them any access in the house. Ultimately, that's a long story. So that also, we need to be a little alert these days. We have to be alert, and Baba expects us to be very alert as not to do anything which will make us stumble into all these aspects of which is there in the world, right? They want to be satisfied. In other words, men want to be satisfied. And when will we get satisfied? Greed, more than this thing, possession, this thing. So we get into all this. They themselves do not know what they want. When they get it, they will be satisfied. For instance, now Baba is giving an example. Why do people drink? Those who labored hard all day, when they come home after a day's work, drink for stimulation. So why do people drink? Why do people have tobacco? Why do people have drugs? Why do people all that? If they get something else instead. So what Baba is trying to say is that instead of drinking, why do people drink? They just want to forget themselves. But let us say if you remember God, if you meditate, or if you sit and talk with God, that also is a kind of a stimulation. So if they get something else, they would be satisfied with that. And so on, until the desire for stimulation disappears. So, for all material satisfaction, created through desire and want, spiritual upliftment is needed. So the whole crux of this particular answer is that spiritual perspective of everything in life, once we start looking at that from a spiritual standpoint, from a spiritual angle, then to that extent the desires will diminish. They will automatically diminish, and when they diminish, then you don't have anything to fear, because we are fearing because we want more things, we possess want things. We do not want our things to go away, to be taken away by somebody, and all that, basically. We really don't know. My silence and the imminent breaking of my silence is to save mankind from the monumental forces of ignorance. Monumental forces of ignorance से बचाने के लिए, and to fulfill the divine plan of universal unity. The divine plan is that we are all one. That, as I said in the earlier session, everyone and everything is everyone and everything at the same time and for all time. We are all one. God is infinite and indivisible. And since we are permanently lodged in that infinity, we are all one. There's only one, there's no two. The breaking of my silence will reveal to man the universal oneness of God, which will bring about the universal brotherhood of men. The moment we realize, the moment ignorance goes, the moment we know that there is only one, that our job is not to fight, that our job is to find who am I, the first question, then automatically everything gets realigned. Our priorities get realigned, our interests get realigned, everything changes. It's not something that when we come into Baba's field or Baba's fold, हम बीमार नहीं होंगे, या हमको accident नहीं होएगा, या we will not die. It's nothing of that. we will not get chikungunya. It's not like that. We will get everything that, but our priorities will change. What to give emphasis, what to give importance, what to give, that will change. We will get the inner strength and the courage to face it all with spiritual maturity. That is the difference. It is not that Manli did not suffer. It is not that Manli did not die. It is not that they did not meet with accident or something like that. No, everybody has to go through according to the law of karma. My silence had to be, the breaking of my silence has to be soon. Now, as I said, I have absolutely no idea as to what is Baba's silence and what is breaking of Baba's silence. The only thing I am, again with my limited understanding, would be that Baba had once said, that all that I am doing now was already in the blueprint, as they say, planned during my advent as Prophet Muhammad. Already that was there. So in my, as I keep on repeating the same sentence, limited understanding, Baba talked about there will be no rites, ritual ceremonies. Baba talked about universal brotherhood. Baba talked about the new humanity. Baba talked about so many beautiful things, and there is a possibility that we feel Baba ने बड़ी बड़ी बात तो की, ये सब होगा, ये होगा, लेकिन कब होगा? अभी बाबा को शरीर छोड़ने को भी 48 years हो गया. You see, 47. So my understanding is that when he spoke all these things, he laid out a blueprint of what is to happen in the next, say, 1,000 years. So that when he comes back again after 700 years, as he has said, this is my understanding, limited understanding, what all blueprint he has said, that will come true, that will come to pass. This is my thinking. Because, see, it is not like when the avatar comes and when he lays down a universal plan, it is a long distance plan, like a marathon, it's 700 years, 1,000 years. Baba did say when he did seclusion in Assisi, in St. Francis caves in Assisi, he said that the masters had come and we had chalked out a plan for 2,000 years, something like that, So in other words, whatever he has said can never go wrong. I remember one instance where I don't know whether it was Baba's brother Behram or Adi or somebody, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, ऐसे कुछ ठोक मार दिया. Something he said something, हवा में. And Baba corrected, Was it नहीं? It was not Java. I think it was Behram. Behram is Rustam Sohrab and who the Gulnar's and Sheru's father. Anyway, so Baba said, no, this is not correct. And he, because after all, was a brother, so he said, Baba, तुम भी फेंके मारो. In Gujarati we say, आप भी तो ठोक मारते हो, फेंक मारते हो, तुम्हें भी तो करो. Immediately Baba corrected him. See, this is the beauty of Baba. He said, I am the truth, and the truth can never lie. That means when you have achieved the truth, then anything that you say can be nothing but the truth. And the fault, as Hafiz says, about what you hear from the master, never say it is wrong, because the fault lies in your own incapacity to understand him. So whenever the truth realized masters say anything, because it is coming from the truth, it can be nothing but the truth. But we do not understand how it is going to be. And therefore, with our limited knowledge, we say, no, what Baba said. Now Baba is talking about breaking of his silence, breaking of his silence. Whether he broke, I don't know. If he has broken, where is the result? Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody can authentically say, simply because nobody has got that stature of understanding. There are different ways of looking at it. I remember once, Narayan Maharaj had come to Bombay, and Arnavas Dada Chandji was asked by Baba to visit and pay respects to Narayan Maharaj. And she went, and somehow she managed to convey that I am from Meher Baba, that we are from Meher Baba. Now imagine Narayan Maharaj, a perfect master, infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite bliss, master of Meher Baba in a sense, this is acting. Acha, yeah, I know. I come to realize, I come to know that he is observing silence. Means he is saying as if so casually that I have come to realize that I've got to know, I've heard that he is observing silence. And then he says, why don't you tell him to break silence? Why don't, Arnav usko kehte hain, why don't you tell him to break silence? You know? And then he says, you must insist that he should break his silence. Narayan Maharaj is telling Arnav, you must insist, you must force him to break his silence. And then, powerful word, in your heart. The final words are in your heart. So what it means, breaking of the silence, could also mean that one particular message, which is when the word of my love breaks out of its silence, telling you in your heart who I really am, then know that that is the real word you have always been longing to hear. You do not know. That means breaking of the silence is not a one-time effect. Maybe in each individual's heart, he is breaking the silence, giving us the conviction who he really is. Then perhaps for that person, Baba has broken his silence. This is just intellectual gymnastics. I am not saying with any authenticity, or I have got no authority to say. I am just saying it. But from this, Narayan Maharaj is, you must insist, you must force him to break. And then in your heart, you know, so we really don't know what is. So Baba says that my silence has to be, and the breaking of the silence has to be soon. Now what is that soon? We don't know. We do not know. So here we complete the chapter on God alone is. If anybody has anything to share, ask, tell. Fuzzy, my silence. Know what you are going to do or what pleases Baba. How do I know what pleases Baba? So his superb answer was, perhaps you may not know what pleases Baba, but you will definitely know what is displeasing to Baba, what displeases him. So you start with not displeasing him to start with, and then gradually you will come to a stage. In other words, each one of us has what we call as a voice of conscience, inner voice, whatever you call it, and it will definitely, there's a compass. It will definitely tell you that no, what you are going to do or what you are doing is not quite right. And then automatically when you deviate from that, you will get to know. And the beauty of Baba would say, you know, that the beauty of the spiritual path is that every little thing that you have learned through the bookish knowledge, you put it into practice. Baba talks about love, Baba talks about tolerance, Baba talks about concern for the other, Baba talks about active participation in the well-being of the other, you know. So gradually when we start putting that into practice, different doors will keep on opening and we will get to know. There is no path as such, you know, that anybody that I can say, okay, you do like this. You yourself are the path, and each one is a path unto himself. So we need to introspect, go within ourselves, self-reflect, and try to find out. And I'm sure when you talk to Baba in your own heart and say, Baba, this is what I'm doing, and if you think that I'm not doing the right thing, please guide me, please show me the right path. He will definitely, because he's more than willing to do it. It is we who do not want. हम लोग बोले बाबा I know what to do. जरा बाजू में खड़ा हो जाओ करने दो. This is what we normally do. It is not that he loves to participate in our life. He wants to participate in our life, but it is we who just put him aside. We know what we are doing. So if one is honestly honest and sincerely sincere, we will get directions. We will get guidance. There is no way in which he would say no. तुम्हारा छोड़ डाला हूँ, you do whatever you want to do, I don't want to get in. No, he's very eager and very much actively participating in our moment to moment thinking. Action तो बात की बात है, even thinking.
Most of the times we end up
This is the end. Cyrus.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Thank you.
All these were actually recorded by you yourself, if you
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks to beloved
Thank
Baba.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Baba.
Avtar, Meher
Thank
Baba.
you.
Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. That's
Thank you, Baba.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Small,
Papa.
small
And
clip. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Papa.
I'll be sending the song and the meaning to
Yeah.
Rakesh and will be circulating the Nayi Zindagi Ka. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, dear.
Okay.
Jai
Thank
Baba.
you, everybody.
Avtar, Meher
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Ki
Jai
jai.
Baba ki jai.
Thank you,
Jai
Papa.
Baba.
Thank
Jai
Cyrus, I didn't even know one day we'll show it this way. We just
Baba.
record.
Yeah, but see, it was helpful. I have a few
Yes.
more. Maybe
Yes.
I'll send it to you by and by. Thank you,
Yes.
dear. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
In fact, last time when Nikki was, I mean, she just came in and the recording was going on. She's saying, "Wow, Cyrus got well so fast. He already started talking." I said, "Yeah, he started talking." She didn't realize it is a recorded one.
So lovely.
I
Thank
think
you,
I
Papa.
might take a week more, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks to
Yes.
all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
allowing
you,
Jai
me.
Baba.
everybody.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Yes.